Well, greetings from the sales floor of Ellingson Motorcars here in Rogers, Minnesota, northern suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today we're going to talk about old Henry Ford's second year Model A, a 1929 Model A Roadster. Give you all the details in but a moment. Well, greetings and salutations from Ellingson Motorcars here in Rogers, Minnesota, northern suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today we're going to talk about our latest addition to our inventory, and it's a 1929 Model A Roadster. Now, 1929 was one of the big years for Henry Ford. Lots of improvements, lots of the second year, as I said, of the Model A. You're going to want to watch this entire video from start to finish because we're going to do a cold start, we're going to do a walk around, give you all the details of this really, really nice little car that, you know what, Model A's being one of the greatest collector cars for someone who wants to get started in the old hobby because they are simplistic and easy to use. Yes, you'll want to click on the link in the description and it'll take you right to our website where all the pricing and information on this car is available, as well as over 100 additional vehicles we currently have in inventory from cars in the 1920s, excuse me, all the way up into the 1980s and beyond. So if you're looking for your first or your 100th classic or collectible vehicle, odds are Ellingson Motorcars probably has it sitting right on our sales floor. Now, remember our website being www.ellingsonmotorcars.com. Well, let's get into this great example. Like I said, I've always been a fond lover of the Model A's. My dad had a 1930 Model A, one of the very first old cars I ever drove. And the neat thing about Model A's is they do not have that confusing transmission that the Model T's had. It is a regular 3-speed on the floor. Not a synchro mesh, but a 3-speed on the floor. So if you know how to drive a regular car with a regular clutch pedal, a Model A is just a great, great example. You know, simplistic motor, little 4-cylinder, 3-speed manual, and you know, it's just all parts and everything is available for these things as well. And talk about big clubs. I mean, the Model A Club was here one time many years ago and they had 50 of them sitting out in front of us, in front of our facility. And I'll tell you what, everybody drove them. Now, there's one of those interesting comments that everybody always asks me about Model A's in general. It's like, well, how fast can you drive a Model A? Well, odds are they run and drive really well at 40 miles an hour. Can go faster than that, but you have to remember they have mechanical brakes. I've always said you can drive them faster than you can stop them in 1929. Number of years down the road before old Henry Ford was going to give you the hydraulic brake option. But that is one of the things these little Model A's have that, you know, it's a great car for taking back roads, driving in parades, doing all those simplistic things. Because, like I said, very easy to operate. On this particular car, love the black paint, looks really nice, and of course, everything was optional. I mean, look at this, it even has the side mounted spare tire with the mirror. That, of course, would be an option. Has the Ah-Ooo-Gah horn, Ah-Ooo-Gah, however you like to say that horn, which is always another one of those things that you can always tell with the Model A's. Someone asked the other day, what is that little thing on the front of the radiator right there? Well, that is called a Motometer. That was an accessory item that you could get with your Model A, and it basically is a temperature gauge. You can see it's like it looks like a thermometer or whatever, and you can see where the temperature is, but that's what those things are. Again, one of those optional things that was available on these particular cars. Now, the little Model A Roadster of this sort, you know, it's got the nice little fake leather vinyl top, goes down with really easy. You just simply turn that knob, and the top goes down. Now, the other option that you could have with these cars was you could either have a trunk or you could have a rumble seat. Well, turning a car that would seat only 2 people, now you could actually seat 4 people in the back. And there are little step plates on the passenger side that you step on the bumper and the little plates to step into the back. So if you needed to have an inexpensive car, and that's what these really were. In 1929, this car was under $500, which, you know, at that time, that was still a substantial amount of money, but old Henry Ford wanted everybody to be able to afford one of his cars so they could be sitting in their garage, and Henry Ford did a tremendous job of getting these Model A's out there as they were made from 1928 to 1931. With the little 4-cylinder motor, like I said, it's simplistic, it's easy to work on. Even a guy like myself would actually probably tackle some of the things on one of these cars. Now, you can also find all the information on this car on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and now even TikTok as well. Give us a like, leave us a comment, or subscribe. We really appreciate it. You have all the information on this car, our current inventory, and actually, as a bonus, some of the cars we've sold over the last several years as well. So if you have time to peruse those sites on the internet, I'm sure if you're a lover of the old cars, that's a good place to spend a little extra time. But no, I guess I'm always looking at, you know, from the standpoint of getting your very first collector car. You don't necessarily want to spend that $100,000. You want something maybe a little more reasonable that fits into your budget, fits in your garage. Here's another one of those things that we have to think about today. Many people come in and go, oh, that big car out of the 50s isn't going to fit in my garage. Well, a little Model A Roadster, not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. Love the whitewall tires. I mean, really, the big, tall, skinny tires. And everyone says, why do they have tall, skinny tires? They went through mud and snow really well. That's the truth of the matter is, of the skinny tire, they could go through deep snow and muddy roads, because a lot of roads in 1929 were still going to be mud and they're going to be dirt. Simplistic interior as well. I mean, I'm looking at the dash. I mean, you got very, very little stuff that you have to concern yourself with on a Model A. I like where the gas is right there. Easy to put gas in. These things get, someone asked, you know, 13, 14 miles to the gallon. Not that's a big concern for people, but most old cars from this era, that's about what they did on average, if you will. Nope, you know, with these you got the nice headlights. It does have one single tail light for your brake light, whatever. You still have to use your arm to go, which, you know, taking a left turn, taking a right turn, or stopping. It does have a brake light, of course, on the 1929. This is a Roadster, so you do not have any windows. They would have side curtains, if anything. Probably wasn't a very popular car in Minnesota winters, because he didn't have much for heaters. My dad told me the story of driving into Grand Forks in the middle of winter. The guy, they had a heater on the exhaust manifold. The passenger burned his leg and everybody else froze. So it was just one of those things. They didn't have much for heat back in those days. Now, if you're like me, you said, you know, I really love the video, gives me all the details. What, you know, I really want to come down to look at it in person. By all means, come on down to Ellingson's. We're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 5, Saturdays 10 to 4, because if you're like me, I want to make sure that I can fit in the car. They are, you know, not as spacious as the new cars, but, you know, for the most part, once you get in them, they're actually not so bad after all. I just have a little more area I have to be concerned about with getting in and out of some of these older cars. Well, if you got any questions on the cars, you can give me a call anytime, or any of us here can help at 763-428-7337. Say you need some assistance with finding financing, or you want to finance the car. Collector cars, there's many sources we can lead you on that can help you. We can ship cars any place in the United States, so that's never going to be an issue that we have to contend with. Well, I guess with that being said, you know, if you're looking for probably one of the most basic and elementary cars that you can have out there in the collector car world, that there's a lot of people involved. People in the clubs are always helpful. A lot of Model A people out there that would enjoy talking to you and having you be a member of their club. I think it's always a good thing for camaraderie and just for any information. You got questions about these cars, there's always someone in the club, Mr. Wrench or whatever, more than willing to help you with any questions you may have. We'll do our best from our end, but once you have it, those people can be much more helpful. Well, thank you again for watching our videos. We appreciate it very much. Hopefully you'll enjoy this one in its entirety and watch many of our other ones that we are out there on those websites, whatnot. So remember our website being ellingsonmotorcars.com, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again.